All right, welcome and to this Mayor Forum. Good afternoon. My name is Brian Gary. I serve as the chair of the LeEtta Chamber of Commerce's Business to Government Advocacy Committee, and it's my honor to moderate today's forum. The Johnson County Public Policy Council, comprised of the 10 chambers of commerce serving Johnson County, developed today's questions. They're focused on business and community issues, of course. We will begin candidate speaking order alphabetically, and we'll rotate throughout the forum back and forth. We will start with a brief 3-minute opening statement by each candidate, followed by our Q&A, where the candidates will have 1.5 minutes to answer the question, and then we'll end with a 2-minute closing statement by each of you. Due to time constraints, there will be no follow-up questions, formal rebuttal time, or any audience participation. So, without further ado, we'll get started, and I would like each of the candidates to introduce themselves, give a brief background on yourself, organizations you've been involved with, and why you feel that you are qualified to serve as mayor. And we'll start with Mr. Bacon.
Thank you, Brian. First of all, I wanted to thank the Chamber for putting this together today, give us an opportunity, or the citizens an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the candidates, so we're excited to be part of this. This is a very important day to remember in our history. It's 9/11. So I didn't want to start without mentioning that fact. That day on 2001 was an attack on America, and it was an attack on our freedom, and we don't want to forget about the sacrifices of the individuals that were there, the first responders that were helped that were there to help that day. A lot of people that lost their lives on that day were just going through their normal routines, daily routines. And so it's a great day for us to show appreciation for our first responders right here in LeEtta, and we love our police and firefighters, and we want to make sure that they have the best equipment and training so that they're ready when the call comes in. So I love this community. I've lived here almost 40 years, a little over 40 years now. I moved here in 1981 to attend Mid-American Nazarene University. I graduated there with an accounting degree. I have a small CPA firm here in town with my wife, who is also a CPA. We've been married now for 39 years. We have 3 children, all went to school here in Olathe, and 4 grandchildren. I was first elected to Olathe City Council in 1995 in Ward 3, so I served there about 25 years. And as a city council person, both in Ward 3 and at large. And then 3 years ago, when our Mayor Copeland passed away, I was Mayor Pro Tem, so I was selected, or my duties as Mayor Pro Tem was to fulfill the remaining term of Mayor Copeland. And I've enjoyed doing that. Olathe is a great community, and it's got so much going on. We've been able to accomplish so much in the last 3 years. So. The first few years were a little bit of a challenge, having to deal with all the pandemic issues around COVID-19. And I thought Olathe as a city was able to survive all of that challenge and very well. And so I've had a lot of experience, just in the last 3 years, probably dealing with all of that than other mayors don't have. So some other things that I've been involved in during the time here in Olathe is I was 20 years on the State Board of Education in Kansas. I served on the bank board at Security Savings Bank for many years, on their audit committee. Was on the Kansas Athletic Association's activities board. So I'm very involved and look forward to serving as mayor for the next 4 years.
Thank you. LeEtta?
Thank you. It's such an honor to be here today. Thank you to the Chamber for hosting this, and Brian for facilitating, and Natalie for organizing it. I want to thank my husband of 34 years, Jim Felter, for being here. He's my better half right back there in the corner. I'm LeEtta Felter, and I'm running to be your mayor in Olathe. My top 3 policy issues are infrastructure, first responders, and traffic congestion. Voters have 2 choices for mayor on the ballot this November. I filed to run for mayor of Olathe because I believe I offer the stronger leadership style, that our great city deserves, and I have the ability to be successful in a climate of increasing divisiveness and eroding civility. I am a strong communicator, a coalition builder, a lifelong learner, and a servant leader who is known locally for my steady hand of leadership and calm steadfastness and diplomacy. I wear many hats. I've spent the past 12 years serving on the Olathe School Board. In the past 2 years, I've served on the Olathe City Council representing Ward 3. I don't consider myself a politician. I am a public servant. I am drawn to service at the local level because it's nonpartisan in nature. Our roads, our sewers, our schools, our water towers, they don't care if you are a Republican or a Democrat. And it's this kind of public policy that draws me in because I know I can vote for what's really in the best interest of our community. I met Jim Felter in the summer of 1985, and as we dated, we became serious, and he invited me to his hometown. And I don't know if I fell in love with Jim first or Olathe, but Olathe sealed the deal. We love Olathe. I married Jim, and in a roundabout way, we got back to Johnson County and then eventually Olathe, and together we started Olathe Truck and Equipment Dealership, Olathe Truck and Equipment, which was a truck and equipment dealership, and we grew it over 18 years. When we started it, it was over there across from Calamity Line Park, and I had a 3-week-old, imagine that, and a 2-year-old, and together with doing what we said we were going to do for the customer, bringing value to the customer, and following through on our commitments, we grew over 18 years into a successful organization of 7 truck and equipment dealerships over 5 states with over 260 employees on average. So we know what it's like to be a business. And when a large company offered to buy us out, we sold, and now we pick our spots. We do ranching, farming, commercial development, and some building. We've lived in Olathe for over 25 years. We have 4 children. 3 live here locally, 1 in Oklahoma City, and all 4 of our parents live here in Johnson County. We love living in Olathe, but we find ourselves heading to Overland Park, Leawood, or the Plaza for entertainment or restaurants or shopping often. I'd really like to fix that. We must do better and develop a broader spectrum of restaurants, specifically in entertainment venues for our residents. I look forward to discussing the topics that are of interest to the Chamber today, and thank you for being here, Mayor Bacon.
All right, thank you both. And we'll now move on to our Q&A section, and candidates again will have a minute and a half with each of your responses. Again, we'll note that the candidate speaking order was randomly determined before the forum began and will rotate after each question. So the first one, LeEtta, will stay with you on what are your top 3 policy issues, please?
Thank you, Brian. They are infrastructure, public safety, and traffic congestion. And it's what our citizens say are their priorities. We do our Direction Finder survey every year, and that's exactly what the residents respond as their priorities. And so Mayor Bacon mentioned the 9/11 tragedy. You know, public safety is my second in line on my priorities. We are big supporters in our family of the first responders. We love our firefighters and police. My service on the school board allowed for me to see from kind of that perspective the collaborative partnerships we have with these entities as well, and that makes Olathe pretty special. We have Olathe West, where we're doing our public safety, lining the bench for the future with our kids that are going through our schools. Is pretty amazing. And as we grow, which we're necessarily going to have to grow to afford to keep our mill levy flat or decrease it, that's done through growth. We're going to have to be mindful of traffic congestion. So that's my 3rd priority. Thank you, Brian.
Great, thank you. John, your top 3 issues.
Oh, obviously the citizen. We want to be in line with what the citizens' priorities are. So mine are public safety, number 1, fiscal responsibility, number 2, and transportation, number 3. Public safety, we've done a great job the last few years. We completed fire station number 8, and also a fighter training facility out on Herald. Both much needed infrastructure needs for our city to provide for our firefighters. Transportation, we've got a lot of great projects underway. The 119th bridge over the railroad tracks at Lone Elm. We've got plans for improvements along K7 and I-35 and Santa Fe. As far as economic stability and fiscal responsibility, we've got, we just passed our budget and we were able to lower our mill rate by 1. We pride ourselves here in Olathe as being a community that is very careful with how we spend taxpayer dollars, and so I want to continue that trend.
Great, thank you. John, we'll stick with you to start with question number 2. What are your views on the value the Olathe citizens receive for their local tax dollar, and what changes, if any, would you propose to the city budget?
So, one of our highest responses from the citizens, or highest rated responses from the citizens on the citizen survey, is our value received for taxpayer dollars spent. So I think we're at the 93 percentile, which, you know, it's hard to get much better than that. But so I think that's a result of years of trust, you know, and built up trust, and the citizens you know, think that we're doing a great job and providing good services for them. As far as the budget process, I think we have a great budget process. The citizens have ample opportunities to have input to our budget. The only thing I might improve, if there was one thing, and that was the communication surrounding the neutral revenue rate. So, you know, it seems like there's a lot of confusion out there when we want to exceed the revenue neutral rate. Excuse me. So I think we could do a better job of communicating with that, and that's probably the only thing I would change.
Thank you. LeEtta, your thoughts on the value the Olathe citizens receive for their local tax dollar, and changes to the city budget, if any, you would make?
Our job as elected officials is to ensure that our funding is going towards the priorities of our citizens, and I believe we're doing a good job at that. I also, at the same time, hear that our residents and businesses really don't like the tax burden, which is not uncommon when you talk with anyone. I mean, the tax burden is out there, and property taxes, one element of the whole puzzle. We've also got 20% of our budget is property tax. The rest is sales tax revenue. So I like the budget process. I believe it's pretty transparent. I don't like last minute changes without identifying where cuts would come from, which we didn't have happen. Sometimes there's attempts to do that. I never support cutting a budget without identifying where it's coming from. You don't just hope for the best. It reminds me of brownback years in Kansas, and that's scary to me. But I believe that Olathe is a rare full-service city, and I believe we have great value for the tax dollar. We're the second lowest mill levy in the state, and that doesn't happen on accident. And my history with the Olathe School Board track record is lowering the mill levy every time possible. The only time we had an increase was when we built Olathe West, and there was a demand for it. And the mill levy remained lower than the year I entered the school board. You served with me on the school board at that time, Brian, so it was an honor. Thank you.
All right, next question. We'll start with LeEtta on this one. Your philosophy on the role that Olathe should play in terms of metro area-wide issues.
Wow, we don't stand in a silo. We're not isolated, nor should we be. If anything we learned from 9/11 is the silo mentality is harmful for America. And so collaboration is the flag I wave, and I am collaborative, communicative, and a coalition builder. I believe that we should work wholeheartedly to develop relationships in the region, especially in the county, with our other cities. And I believe any effort invested in that is well pursued and should be increased.
John, your philosophy on the role the city should play in terms of metro-wide issues.
Well, being a part of a metropolitan area is a great asset for our residents here. There's a lot of things we could work on together with other cities in the metropolitan area, including transportation. We want to make sure people can get to and from work and home with ease and not have to deal with unrealistic commute times. Housing is a big issue in the metropolitan area, making sure there's a variety of housing. So we collaborate with our neighboring cities to make sure that housing opportunities are there for our workforce. Another thing that we've learned just recently with the COVID-19 is the health-related issues that we deal with as a city. And the communication that goes around between the different entities on how we're going to deal with health-related challenges. And another thing that we hear from businesses a lot is education opportunities to make sure we have an educated or a qualified workforce for our commercial and our business citizens. So, just working with different education institutions around the metropolitan area. I know there's a lot of collaboration with, for instance, Mid-American Nazarene University here in K-State, Olathe, and those opportunities are there, and we just need to take advantage of them.
All right, thank you. John, you're up first on this one. Over the last 20 years, the city of Olathe's development really has outpaced a lot of the Johnson County communities. How would you help continue this high-quality growth in Olathe? And what role, if any, do you believe the city should play in the economic development, bringing more jobs and capital investment to Olathe?
That was a mouthful.
That's a lot of stuff, isn't it?
Okay, so
high-quality growth, what role should we play in the capital investment and bringing jobs to Olathe?
Okay. So Olathe has been fortunate just because we were part of a major metropolitan area. People are coming, they want to be here. We've been very proactive in trying to attract business to our community. When I first moved here, Olathe was pretty much known as a bedroom community. We didn't have a lot of places where you could work and raise and support a family. But we do have a finite amount of land available. Our undeveloped area is shrinking. So we have to make sure that while we're growing, we're making sure that all of that land is being used in the highest and best possible way, so that our community is sustainable. We are in the process right now of reviewing our comprehensive plan, and we're putting that committee together that will spend probably 18 months in determining how to best plan going forward for Olathe in the future. I've always thought that we need to be competitive in trying to and assist the chamber, and many of you are here today, in trying to attract business to our community. So we do offer tax abatements for businesses, startup businesses, and businesses that are looking for an opportunity to grow in our community. So I've always been in favor of that, and we want to be competitive. And a lot of times businesses, when they're growing, they need capital, and so a break in taxes is a good idea. So it's worked well for us.
Thank you. LeEtta, same question on development and ways that Olathe can help bring jobs and capital investment here.
Great. So an engaged city in partnership with their chamber should play a big role in economic development, bringing jobs. We should be aggressive. And I believe we are, and I believe the data shows the great benefit of the work the Chamber's been doing. We are a bedroom community in a lot of ways. That shows up with the Olathe Public Schools budget because commercial property taxation is what we really needed in Olathe School District. We're primarily a bedroom community, so it is important to note that the more we aggressively grow, the better the tax burden for our citizens, because the only lever of finance locally that our schools have is funding through property tax. So growth is going to pay for our priorities. So when I say my priorities are infrastructure, public safety, and traffic congestion, how am I going to pay for it? Well, if we aren't growing, we're going to either have to cut some of it or we're going to have to increase taxes. My plan is to aggressively go after growing specifically the commercial piece so that the tax burden is lifted off of the citizens. And I believe the Chamber does a very good job in that. The tools of commerce are our friend, talking about like tax abatements, IRBs, TIFs, CIDs, things like that. They are not our enemy. They are a tool which we should use. And I appreciate our partnership with the Chamber.
Thank you. LeEtta, you'll start with this one. What do you think are the three greatest opportunities or challenges for the Olathe economy in the next 10 years, and how would you capitalize on those?
Okay, the three greatest opportunities. I love that frame because, everybody in the world is facing the opportunity to pay higher costs for everything. So that's inflation. It's rampant throughout the entire globe, and partially a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and all of the cash that was injected. And, we see the Fed's trying to regulate, interest rates and figure it out when, to me, the elephant in the room is, hello, we kind of know what caused that. And it's going to take time to level it out. And so I think one big opportunity is to find ways to make living more affordable for the people who work, live, and play here in Olathe. And retire, don't forget that one. The second opportunity is how are we going to maintain our priorities, our services, without increasing our taxes or the tax burden? That is through growth. That's growing, specifically commerce. And being a businesswoman, I'm 12 classroom hours away from being Dr. Felter, by the way. I'm a lifelong learner. I'm always reading about ways to sharpen the saw. I surround myself with diversity of thought, and I'm learning from people that the things we need to do to draw in businesses, and that's going to take a very engaged city council and mayor. And the third, I would say, would be, I'm tied, partnerships, collaboration, or else a big challenge is hiring and maintaining the right employees to do and launch our vision into the future. So I'd say it's kind of a tie there, but we have great partnerships here in our community. Keep building on those. That allows us to amplify our priorities and save money as well.
Thank you. John, your three greatest opportunities for the economy here in Olathe for the next 10 years, and how would you capitalize on those?
Well, I think one of the things that's kind of on everyone's mind right now is the Panasonic plant that's coming into DeSoto, but it's going to create a lot of opportunities along the K-10 corridor, which at this point is still, there's still room for development and growth on, and KDOT is in the process right now of trying to find ways to expand that corridor with either express lanes or either toll lanes or express lanes that are not toll. So I think that's a great opportunity for Olathe, and we need to capitalize on that. And I think there's going to be opportunities for retail, employment along that corridor. So that's definitely one. Another would be our downtown. We are poised right now in our downtown for a lot of exciting things to go on. We're accumulating properties. We right now have an RFP out for some properties that we purchased for looking for retail opportunities for restaurants and places for people to come, and maybe our downtown at some point will be a destination. That's a cool opportunity that we have right in front of us right now. We really appreciate this new library that we are enjoying today. The other thing is K-State Olathe. K-State Olathe is trying to expand the student population at that campus, and I think there's a lot of growth and opportunities there coming in the next 5 years, and I think that will have a big impact on our community.
Great, thank you. John, you'll have this last one here. Explain what you see the role of the mayor should be on the city council, and why you believe you are what distinguishes you most from your opponent to serve as mayor of Olathe.
That's, in Olathe, we're considered to be a weak mayor instead of a strong mayor. But so the mayor just has one vote like any other council member in Olathe. Our job is to, we help form an agenda with the city manager's office. And but as far as that, it's trying to be a leader. We run the meetings and encourage civility and those things on the council. But it's not much different as far as a vote than any other council member. So we help form the vision for the council and the staff, and then it's their job to implement it. As far as distinguishing myself from my candidate or my opponent, LeEtta has been on the council for a little over a year and a half, and during that time, I have for the 3 years I've been mayor, I've had almost a perfect attendance record. My opponent has missed more meetings than any other member on the council, so I think it's important to show up. And because you can't vote, you can't have a say unless you show up. So that's really important. And the thing is that our meetings are just a portion of what we're responsible for as a mayor. I say we had, over the last year and a half, we had about 40 meetings. There's probably twice that many other obligations that a mayor has to do. So I'm one that shows up at the meetings.
Okay, thank you. LeEtta, you see the role of the mayor should be on the council, and why you believe what distinguishes you from your opponent as mayor.
Thank you. I believe our community deserves options. I filed for mayor because I know I will be an upgrade due to my skill sets, my strong leadership abilities, and communication strengths, and my coalition building skills. We will likely need to hire a new city manager in the coming years. I have the skill set to do this. I have hired 4 superintendents of the second largest school district in the state of Kansas. I have concerns with our current mayor's judgment and apathy. 28 years is a long time on a city council. Perhaps that's what's caused the apathy. Who knows? But being mayor is a big job. Neglecting appointments to various boards and commissions, that's apathy. Not participating in the NLC, National League of Cities, that's apathy. Not participating in the Council of Mayors, that is apathy. Not completing the questionnaire sent by the chamber to the candidates, that is apathy. I have commitment and energy to give this job the role what it deserves. We will be able to attend the National League of City conferences as a council united and not have to work around a CPA's schedule. Right now, we have to visit DC at a separate time, and most of our city council members don't even attend the NLC events. Make no mistake, this is a huge miss for Olathe to shine and for us to collaborate with other municipalities across the U.S. Our current mayor has allowed questionable advisors to have his ear and has even made one of them, from all appearances, to be his campaign manager, a man who had his membership of the Tennessee Republican Assembly revoked in 2015 because he didn't honor his business commitments, and who had to step down from leadership in the Kansas 3rd District under a cloud of controversy amid complaints that he didn't pay his bills. Olathe deserves better, and I am offering this better alternative.
All right, so now each candidate will have 2 minutes for their closing statement. LeEtta, you'll start, so your 2-minute closing statement, please.
Thank you. Today marks the 22nd anniversary of 9/11, a day that changed the world forever. I am reminded of a quote I read from Fred Rogers when he was reassuring families after the assassination of President Robert Kennedy. Mr. Rogers said, "My mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. I am a helper. I show up when needed. Whether it's serving on a local school board or city council, organizing Stand for Spencer, Community for Kale to honor our fallen heroes, our local fallen heroes, co-founding Olathe Loves Oklahoma, providing Thanksgiving feast annually to those in great need, or founding Mask of Mercy to provide over 40,000 handmade fabric masks to our community during the COVID-19 pandemic, during a time when the supply chain shortages were real and uncertainty was great. I am much more than an elected official. I am a true public servant in the very sense of the word. As a community, we are facing rising inflation, significant national debt, and an uncertain economy. A federal election is next year, which can slow the economy further and delay important decisions that impact Olathe. In these circumstances, now more than ever, we need an exceptional leader at the helm. I bring to the table a strong history of good public policy making and relationship building. I am a servant leader who embodies the communication skills, good judgment, and persuasiveness needed to represent Olathe and to bring business and opportunities to our community. I will welcome all to the table and will transparently work to make your future brighter in Olathe, and I ask for your vote for the mayor of Olathe.
Thank you, John. Your 2-minute closing statement, please.
It's exciting to be a part of Olathe these days. Things are not broken in Olathe. Things are going very well, and there's a lot of people that say if it's not broke, it doesn't need to be fixed. So we've got exciting libraries that have just opened. We've got the 119th Railroad grade crossing underway. We've attracting new business to our community, Coca-Cola and Walmart. We have a 93% satisfaction rating from our citizens that say they're satisfied with Olathe City Services. We have new police headquarters that will be opening later this fall, which is something that's very much in need of. So we've got a lot of things that are moving forward and in the right direction, Olathe, and I think I am the person that will continue this progress. I've been a part of it for many years and seen Olathe turn around to the wonderful community it is today. So very excited for things in the future of Olathe. I'm happy to serve as mayor, enjoy my service in this role and want to continue to do so. My opponent talks about her ability to recruit professionals to serve in the administration of the school district. Well, if you've got turnover of 4 different superintendents, that sounds like that you have a problem with trying to recruit, rather than with the city of Olathe, we've had the same city manager for 25 plus years. So we want to continue Olathe as one of the safest cities in the country. We want to continue Olathe as one of the most sought after communities that people want to move to and live in. And that's my goal, is to keep Olathe great. And I appreciate your vote in November.
Great, thank you both. And this concludes our forum for Olathe Mayor's Race. Thank you both for participating in today's forum. We greatly appreciate it. For more information about our candidates, videos of these and other candidate forums, and advanced voting details, you can visit www.votejoco.com. Please share this voter resource with your colleagues, your family, and your friends. Again, www.votejoco.com. So on behalf of the Olathe Chamber of Commerce, thank you to everyone taking advantage of this important opportunity to learn about our candidates. Best of luck to both of you on your campaigns. And thank you again for being here and getting the blue memo that we all so well wanted. Thank you.
It worked.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.